It's already underway. Just hook everybody up with their Oculus to the metaverse. And in the metaverse with Oculus, and Oculus will progressively turn into a matrix boot, right? I can give anybody any feelings that they want, and there's no scarcity of resources because it's all digitally created simulation.
Well, that's on the hypothesis that there are some feelings that are reducible and replicable by a machine universe, which I think for those of us who've experienced the numinous, like you and I, we believe fundamentally as a tenet of faith that there is something that's irreducible. I'm wearing this little toad necklace around my neck. I fucking guarantee you that. Well, I don't guarantee you. I don't know anything for that sure, that certain. But I'm fairly confident that you're not going to get a Bufo journey in the metaverse. You're not gonna be able to duplicate this feeling, which is pure love, God. There's no other real way that I have to describe it, right? So I think there may be some sensations that we could get by jacking ourselves into it, but some that may not be even possible by and not replicable in the machine world, and perhaps love itself, even in the more mundane sense, rather than the psychedelic, rocket ship sense, is not reducible to that. Nor is the feeling of awe, or nor is the feeling of that deep kind of enlivening peace that you get in the meditative state. Maybe if you can alter your brainwave chemistry and some things can happen, it's possible. But I feel like there's things that are irreducible. And I don't know, that's just like a feeling that I have, but maybe I'm underestimating what technology could potentially offer.
So let's say that in addition to the Oculus and, visual, auditory, haptic input, and of course, as soon as I go I start three different axes of input: visual, auditory, haptic. I start getting the ability to simulate immersive experience in the brain pretty deeply. But let's say we start to figure out how to add chemistry to it. We already know there are a lot of people, and the thing with the heroin addiction is someone is going for a particular kind of sensation, independent, decoupled from what evolutionarily would have given them that sensation, right? Like, why do I even have receptor sites for heroin? Well, because natural opiates do emerge in certain kinds of processes. In the same way that, like, if I'm doing the meth and I'm getting the dopamine or the cocaine, dopamine is naturally produced, but it's naturally produced in association with things that had evolutionary relevance, right? But if I can couple them and just get the sensation without the other thing, that is almost always destructive, because the thing that wasn't the sensation was actually part of what was fundamentally meaningful. Right? The sensation was just a part of it, which is why in the simulation story, if I could simulate it better, I can use transcranial magnetic stimulation on the right hemisphere to induce God experiences and whatever. And I know that I'm in that simulation. Do I want to blue pill and just jack back in and have the thing? Or do I want a red pill because there's some connection to reality that is meaningful for me beyond just the sensation of it? It's a very important question.
It is an important question. It seems like that actually the synergy, it seems like while people are pushing against this technology, it could actually be a useful part of the solution, where people all of a sudden, when they realize that they can get a lot of the sensations they are craving in a unlimited virtual universe, where that sensation is, universally, ubiquitously available to them, then it may actually decrease some of this competitive individualism, which is, actively seeking to take from this finite world. It could be productive in some ways, I suppose. I suppose this could be a part of this multifaceted solution, is in kind of helping to tame our baser instincts.
Now, it depends upon what it is being developed for, right? Because, like, let's say we look at the heroin and the McDonald's. If the thing that is guiding the development of the tech, whether it's food tech or pharma tech or whatever, if the thing that's guiding it is a market process, then, and I can offer people sensations that they want. In fact, sensations that then they want so much they get addicted to. driving addiction is the best thing I can do from a business point of view, because I want to maximize lifetime revenue of a customer. And I maximize lifetime revenue by driving addiction and ideally starting the addiction as young as possible. And then expanding the addiction to the largest number of people possible. Now, if you think about this nonsense idea in the market that demand is, like, when I say nonsense, there's an Adam Smith idealized market where people want real things that will really enrich the quality of their life. And then wanting that and being willing to give something to it creates a basis for supply. And the rational actors here will choose the supply that is the best product or service at the best price. So people's desire creates a basis for healthy innovation and the whole world gets better. Except that the supply side becomes coordinated in a way the demand side doesn't. There isn't all customers working together in some customer union against Nike or Google, right? But Nike or Google is actually a company that is highly coordinated. And the supply side starts to realize, we've supplied the shit people want, but now we'll make more money if we can get them to want shit they don't currently want. So how do we change the style every year so people need to keep getting new shit? How do we either do designed obsolescence or perceived obsolescence or addiction driving so that we can manufacture demand artificially, right? The entire idea of the intelligence of markets dies with that, with manufactured demand and supply side drive in that way. And now it's just a self-authoring extraction machine on the way to self-termination on a finite planet. So if the thing that can provide the experience, because there's no question when you're eating the Hostess, you're having an experience that is of a different nature of the total amount of dopamine than when you're eating a salad. Or, whatever. They figured out how to extract salt, fat, sugar, and combine them in the ways that maximize that dopaminergic hit. And the same is true with whatever, the porn and lots of things. So in the metaverse, if it is continuing to have the technology developed by supply side that wants to optimize for manufacturing demand, which will appeal to the lowest angels of people's nature, no, that becomes a dystopian hell. Mm-hmm. What would the tech be that was actually healthy, where we say, how do we ensure that when someone straps the Oculus on, it's not creating such hypernormal stimuli that it makes people have a shittier experience out here because it's desensitized them to normal stimuli, because every girl in there is AI Instagrammed and AI airbrushed and shit. So now all normal girls are not pretty and whatever it is. And my avatar in there is so dope that I don't want to be this avatar out here. And so let's say that one of the criteria of the digital world has to be that it increases the quality of life in the non-virtual world. Well, then it could be a really awesome tool, but who the fuck builds that thing? Because it's not going to be a market-driven process.
Well, it would have to come from the pressure of the world not being optimized, almost getting enough destruction that actually there's the motivation to do it. It almost feels like there needs, and I pray that this is as gentle as possible, but it feels like the necessity for things to fall apart a little bit to shake people out of this reality that we can continue on the path is almost necessary for people to actually start making the choices and build a new ethics that isn't bound to some, white bearded God who's going to punish you if you don't do this, or if you do this or whatever. But it's built on this, again, mutually assured destruction, like where people really understand that this path is actually going to destroy the world, not only for you, but for your children, and everything is going to degrade. So we must make a different choice. But it feels like a little bit of pressure might be actually what's needed to kind of raise that level of consciousness and actually allow ethics to bind people to their